Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, another one. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Postgame Show, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Well, I don't know about you, Steve. I'm Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. That's Steve Juco. Follow him at Flyperbole. That's it. We're done. No, Steve, I don't know about you, but I wasn't betting on that turning into a real hockey game at any point. But man, hell of an outcome for the Flyers for only showing up for about 2.5 minutes. Final score doesn't look so bad.
Insane. I was falling asleep. On my Blue Sky account, I posted a Britney Spears yawning gif with like a few minutes left because like that's how I felt. I just felt sleepy. It was not an entertaining game. It didn't really feel like Montreal, what they did do, like was that impressive. I don't know why the Flyers couldn't crack their defense because their defense isn't good.
Not
It
good.
didn't make any sense to me. So like, I don't know what the hell I just watched, but yeah, at the end, like I was getting the laptop ready. I was getting my water ready. Like, all right, it's post game time. We're going to talk about a boring game. And then all of a sudden it turned into like a super exciting game out of nowhere. And I don't know what to make of this team.
No. I mean, I just saw, I didn't send it to Bryn for a graphic, but I saw Dylan Robillard tweet all of the goalies' save percentages and they're 32nd. Big shocker there. Maybe that's the story. Maybe it's that simple that they're not getting good enough goaltending. And I want to talk about Kolosov because I thought he had an up and down game. It's his NHL debut.
Yeah,
but
I have a lot to say about that.
This team is not good. Like I don't know what else to say. I thought maybe yesterday was like, okay, we're brushing off that start. We're going to start something. Lots of players. The top line's looking good. We saw Sanheim. He continued to look good tonight. We saw Risto looking like if they could just get a couple of guys going and get a couple of saves, maybe this team won't be horrendous to watch. But outside of the last couple of minutes, nothing happened in this game. I mean, even the big controversy, and my God, Habs fans, they are just hilarious. Like, trying to argue that anything should have come from the Couturier Kirby Dach thing other than Kirby Dach going to the box for embellishment, I don't know. But we can talk about that later, too. This was a discouraging just effort. Like, they didn't do anything. Like, there were no plays made for 60 minutes.
And what bothers me most about them not doing anything is that this isn't a good Montreal Canadiens team. Like, the Wild were undefeated coming into that game, you know, and you can make a lot of excuses about their opponents from the first few weeks, you know, like Edmonton's Edmonton. They have some of the best talent there is. Seattle's a team that they've had nights where they've scored a ton of goals. So whatever on that front. And when Vancouver shut them out at home on the first night, the Vancouver Canucks almost made the Western Conference Finals last year. So those are all great teams. But then like, they have those Caps games and the Caps are barely better than the Flyers, you know, like the Caps are not impressive. They have obviously a legend, right? But like, they don't have the talent they used to have. And then tonight, just like Montreal sucks. They should have played. I know it's a back-to-back, but Montreal sucks. They don't have anybody that impressive. Like I like Suzuki a lot. I think Caulfield can score. Obviously Caulfield is a scorer and his goal tonight was obvious. You know, I think Kolosov should have had that one, but Caulfield scored a goal scorer's goal. He picked a spot and he got it.
That's that was my takeaway. Like, yeah, man, if Ryan Poehling scores that goal on you, like, you might not have it. But in your first game, seal the post, you didn't quite get it all the way, and Cole Caulfield fitted in like a puck width area to get like what can you even he needs to stop that. Like he needs to make that save, but Cole Caulfield is a special scorer. Like
he's a special scorer. He's tied for the league lead for a reason. Like he's a really, really great goal scorer. But we'll break down his stuff. You know, I have a lot of feelings on Kolosov, but overall, I was not impressed with the team. I was very discouraged by the effort and the fact that they didn't wake up until the end in a game that I thought was easily winnable. is just, it sucks. It sucks to see because we don't have high expectations for this team, but we at least expected them to compete on a nightly basis. And look, people are paying good money to go to these damn games. They want to see at least competitive hockey. I think we all expect the Flyers not to win the cup this year, but we expect them to have a high energy effort on a given night. And, we talked about the lineup in pregame, not some of the greatest choices we've ever seen as far as encouraging offensive output, if you will. But I still expected more.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, and to your point earlier, there were all the excuses about the way, not like the way they lost and how it went for like the first 5 games of the season. And I was willing to maybe grant them a pass in some of those situations, but what's the problem tonight?
Right. They've been on the East Coast for over a week now.
Yeah, like what was the issue? Oh, it's a back-to-back. Like, it's game 8, game 9. Like, sometimes you got to play back-to-backs, guys. And this was just, it was one of their worst efforts of the season so far, and that was discouraging. The fact that they keep doing this in front of the home crowd as well is another thing. I don't know your take on Eagles chants. I think they can be cringy in a lot of situations, but either as protest or if you're just blowing a team out, and like, especially on the road, like if you traveled, because that's kind of our flag. We don't have a chant for every team. Right. Eagles is kind of Philly, so I think that works too. But a lot of times I think it's cringy. Tonight, the Flyers earned it. The Flyers absolutely earned Eagles chants with the way they played tonight. Like, I got no problem with that.
It's such a fascinating Philadelphia cultural phenomenon, the Eagles chant at random events. Because, like, if you're not from here and you hear that, you're like, what the hell? Why are they chanting Eagles at this concert? Why are they chanting Eagles at the Phillies game? And yeah, number one, guys, never do it when you're at a Phillies game and the Phillies are winning. The Phillies have just won. Yeah. You have high hopes to sing. Why would you waste your time with an Eagles chant? It's stupid. Same thing with Sixers and Flyers. Do not do it when the team whose sport you're at has won and they're not the Eagles. Okay. It's just asinine. But when it comes to doing it when your team has put forward a humiliating effort, and that was a loud Eagles chant tonight.
That was a good one. That wasn't one. That wasn't one drunk being a douche. Like, that was a section of guys.
That's 100%. That's a great summary there, because it is usually like, especially at some of those like Phillies games where it's getting a little late and like the crowd is dispersing a little bit, and there's just one drunk who's like, "Hey!" And they just kind of let him go.
It's like, all right, yeah, sure. No, that was several rows of people. All right, let's start with Aleksei Kolosov. He makes his NHL debut tonight. The I guess controversial Aleksei Kolosov. He came over at the end of last season, played a couple of games for the Phantoms, didn't get into any of the playoff games. Then there were basically, after the Phantom season ended, like rumblings began right away. Like, this kid don't like it. He ain't coming back. And there was a whole back and forth all summer. And then eventually a week into camp, he shows up, albeit late. And now here he is, game 9. And he has made his first NHL start, thanks largely to the failings of Ivan Fedotov. What'd you think about Kolosov just in his first game?
I thought in his first game that he was okay. It was like mixed reviews. I felt better about him in this kind of pathetic 4-3 loss to the Montreal Canadiens. I felt better about him in this than I did in any of the Fedotov starts, because it at least felt like he had a semblance of how to play goaltender in this league in North America, where Fedotov, I don't know what the hell that guy is doing on most nights, because he's just kind of spinning and like he's going way back into his net, and he's doing stuff that is bonkers to me. He's doing stuff that I just like, what are you doing? I don't understand how you are playing hockey like this. And it was all like every save Fedotov made, especially in those first couple games, just nerve-wracking. Absolutely nerve-wracking. Whereas Kolosov just kind of played like a rookie goaltender, any old rookie goaltender making his debut. He had some weak goals, sure. He had some stuff that he probably would love a second chance at, but I felt like kind of relaxed by how normal the performance was. The only goal I mentioned, the Caulfield goal. So that one I didn't love. I think he needs to stop that. But again, a goal scorer picked his spot and he took it.
Sometimes you get beat. Like,
yeah, a lot of the other ones were traffic. Or can we talk about the Brendan Gallagher assist real quick? Because that was ridiculous. Like, Gallagher was even shocked by that.
Yeah, that one, like when he like drops his stick and it's just like, yeah, like I guess he probably he just kind of lost the puck on the broken stick and didn't get over fast enough.
And somehow
like he had time, but just didn't track how slow the puck was moving. Like thought, like Bush said, I think he thought it was like going to someone in the low slot, not all the way across the ice. Because the position he's in, the position the goal is scored from, is like almost parallel to the goal line. Like,
dude,
that's a hell of a shot.
He looked like a genius.
He
looked like a genius for that. Look, he looked like he set that up like Connor McDavid over there. It's Brendan Gallagher, folks. That ain't Connor McDavid. It looked like initially like he just made an amazing pass completely across the offensive zone diagonally that got in there and had a wide open net, of course, because he had no business making that pass, but his stick broke. It was complete fluke.
His stick just blew up. It was funny. In the third period at that same spot, Risto leaned into one and his stick blew up. I was like, maybe there's something wrong with the ice.
We were talking about Risto in that first pairing coming in, and then like we had that, and then on the Caulfield goal, Risto was setting up, trying to block the shot, and it looked like he was breakdancing because he had no idea how to get in front of that puck. It was so weird.
That's why they call him Risto Raygun, man.
Risto Raygun, yeah. He's got the track jacket on, and he's got the backwards hat, and he's like, crossing his arms. I would love to see Risto try to breakdance, please.
That's like Kolosov. It definitely wasn't great. Like, I mean, stopped 20 of 24, 833. That's basically what the Flyers get every night. But that's the thing, is he wasn't bad. I wouldn't say he was overly bad, and to your point just about like in comparison to Fedotov, like I thought maybe he looked a little choppy in the beginning, just kind of getting his feet under him. He lost his net at one point. I was like, whoa, where you going, guy? I really thought he was going to play that puck that wasn't in the trapezoid, and he was like, oh no, I know I'm not allowed, I can't.
Oh yeah, that's bad. No.
Yeah, like, oh no, can't do it. Like his shot collar went off. But for the most part, I felt the way you did. Like, no, he's not doing anything special, but he's not making me nervous every time they have the puck. Like,
right.
The defensemen like are moving back as they're coming in on the rush, and then like Fedotov's in his net. Like, whoa, no, you need to be not in there. It can't cross the line. Like, you have to be in front of that. And he looked like a normal goalie, which is
it looked like a normal ass goalie, which I'll take. There's a phrase that my Simpsons fans out there will recognize when I say it. He was a perfectly cromulent goaltender tonight, and it's just like it was fine. Like the goals he allowed were stuff in traffic, were stuff where the defense didn't necessarily like. They weren't the worst, but they weren't the best. It's stuff that I feel like they can work with. Whereas I felt like with Fedotov, he needs extensive work. Like he needs to go. Like I'd really at this point, I'd like him to go to the minors. I'd like him to work with somebody and get like extensive coaching, just focusing on his style and following the North American game. Where Kolosov, he seems like he's following the game. It's just a matter of refining his style and getting used to the pace of play and all that stuff. Get that experience.
Yeah, like I think he definitely lost that one puck through traffic, but also like the stick broke and nobody knew what happened. There's a goal that's scored off of a shin pad deflection. Like, there's just some weird stuff in there. So I thought he was mostly fine. A couple, he'd want back, but
like the problem's the team.
Yeah, like that's the
like it was a listless effort, and it's like one that I think if the Flyers had decided to do any work before the last 3 minutes of the game, they might have won.
That's the thing. Have the puck more. You know how you protect a rookie goalie? Don't let the other team have the puck the entire game. Have a forecheck. Have a shift that lasts more than one attempt at the net, like every now and then.
The offense was just a bummer tonight. Like,
it was.
They had no pressure. It was just like what we were talking about with, the Capitals game before they woke up in those too, where it's a lot of perimeter shots. It's a lot of just like not getting in front of the net. What they did so good against the Wild was they were penetrating deep into the zone. Sean Couturier was like a wrecking ball in that game. Like, he was getting in there, and he was not doing the same thing tonight until, again, with like 2 minutes left. And they were close to tying this game. Like, they were completely dead. And I kind of expected them to tie it. That's how much pressure they had at the end. And it's just like, if you had done anything, if you hadn't procrastinated, and believe me, I know about procrastination. If they had not procrastinated, they would have won the game, I think.
No, I said like 4-3. That's a hell of a result for a team that played 3 minutes. Like, that's wow. But I think it really does speak to like quality opponent, and it's what makes tonight frustrating. Again, no one here is expecting this team to go out and be dominant every night, especially against other good teams. But like, Montreal ain't a good team.
No, they're not good at all.
Don't let them have the puck for 75% of the game. I don't know. That just seems like a losing strategy.
They had the puck for 75% of the game, and also, again, their defense is not that great, and they were. Like, the Flyers were acting like Shea Weber was still in there and active, like, and elbowing people in the face. Like, it's not the case at all. Well, I'm sure Shea Weber's somewhere elbowing someone in the face. That's just his nature. He has no choice in the matter. But like, as far as like how they played, like, somebody posted, again, I never understand these advanced stats graphs because I'm an idiot. But one of the guys, I think it was my friend Joe from Broad Street Hockey, posted a graph, and it was like the Canadiens defense through most of the season at this point, and it was just like one big red blob. And I can't tell a lot of things from these graphs, but I could tell that was bad.
Seems bad. No, but that's the, like, coming into the game, it's man, Montreal, like, they don't get many saves. They're not good defensively. That's the thing Marty St. Louis is really trying to get this team to work on, is like clamping down defensively, and they just don't. They score goals, they give up goals.
Yeah. And I expected to give up goals. I took the over tonight, and I was on the edge of my seat.
Thank God for that effort then. That's some good garbage time effort.
I was very happy.
Like, you were able to do it for those couple of minutes. Why? Where was that effort all night? You could have won this game 6-2 if you played that way.
Yeah, anyway, it would have been nice.
Before we go any further, I got to tell you about our friends at Game Time, baby. Now, I don't know if maybe you don't want to go check out a Flyers home game, honestly, but there's so many events in Philly all the time. I got wrestling shows coming up over the next couple weeks. There's always concerts in town. Whatever it is, the best way to go is with Game Time, and Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And that is the exact feature I used to get my tickets for AEW next month. I'll see you there at the Liacouras Center. Obviously the Game Time Picks feature, it's their newest, it's one of their best features, but all the old ones are still around that made Game Time the best secondary ticket marketplace, from the all-in pricing to the seat views to the lowest price guarantee, and the Game Time ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And while we're here, why don't I tell you, you know I love it. 1-800-588-2300 Empire
today.
That's excellent, Steve. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. The Empire philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes, because what they leave out of their selection, and it is a vast selection, but it's just as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles, and the virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. All you got to do is snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHLY for details. All right. Yeah, I thought Kolosov was pretty good. Like, it's something to work with. That's really my biggest take. It's not as if he was good. He was fine, I guess. But it's like, you look like you could one day become an adequate NHL goaltender. And that just has not been the case from Ivan Fedotov so far. So I am very interested to see how this plays out. Maybe Charlie will have little info for us when he joins us later tonight, or maybe tomorrow on tomorrow's show at 4 o'clock. Emil Andrae also made his season debut in the NHL. And it's funny, the way the schedule had worked with the Phantoms, he's with the team, he's with the Flyers for the road trip to start. He misses the first Phantoms game, and then they don't play again till the following weekend. He's still up with the Flyers, and then they didn't play again till this weekend. He played on Friday night, and I believe that was it. Like, that's it. He's only played one regular season game before tonight. It was one with the Phantoms just the other day, and now he's in the NHL. And I got to tell you, I'll watch this back at a certain point and fast forward and rewind and watch some different shifts. But first impression, Emil Andrae is as good as anyone they got. I don't think he's Travis Sanheim, Cam York. I'm not, maybe not as good as anyone they've got, but I saw a couple of plays he made tonight that most of their defensemen can't. The first one was early in the game. I think it was a really good seal off and finish. Player on the rush coming along the boards. And he just took the perfect angle, made the hit, stopped the guy dead in his tracks, stapled him. I thought it was great. The defenseman behind him needed to pick up the support, but it was fine. I think Kolosov made the save. And then a really great pass on the backhand to Spring Farabee for like one of their better scoring chances of the first 45 minutes, 55 minutes. Farabee put the shot right into the goalie's chest, but I blame that on practicing against Ivan Fedotov and thinking that that's a good way to score. But he made a couple of plays that stood out to me. I know maybe they don't think he's like all the way ready, but he looked fine.
I mean, especially given how Zamula's looked in recent games, the biggest thing was Zamula coming out of the lineup to play him, because for some reason, even though Sealer was the one that was out on that road trip, they were like, well, we got to play Johnson. We can't possibly play Andrae there, even though Andrae, as a left-handed shot, would have fit very nicely in there. And they played two righties together many times during that. But not that I don't really pay that much attention to the handedness, but it's funny because so many guys in hockey are lefties. You rarely see two righty defensemen playing together, so it just looked weird. But regardless, I would have loved to have seen Andrae at any point. So yeah, for him to not be a total huge screw up tonight, like Zamula had been, was a huge relief. It was great, and I think I just wish Zamula will figure out whatever his problem is if he's too distracted by the hard world of translation or whatever it is. But I was happy to see some competent play in there tonight. Yeah, it was such a weird game. I really do want to go back and see exactly the kind of stuff that Andrae did, because I didn't really notice him in a bad way, which was nice. But outside of the plays you mentioned, I also didn't notice him overtly in a good way.
That's I don't think he was great tonight, but nobody was. That's the other thing. When we're trying to assess these guys in so many, especially these young players in so many different situations and how they handle the roles that they're in. And you watch Michkov, and we'll get to him. I didn't think this was his best game by any means tonight. But for the most part, it's like, oh, well, he's dragging this team kicking and screaming to the few competitive games that they've had. And unless you're a young player able to do that, I don't know really how you can stand out when all of the veterans aren't doing anything to really help propel that. But I thought he was fine. I hope he gets another game. Honestly, he's up here. They play again Tuesday. We have a watch along on Tuesday. So hopefully you want to join us for that. Me, Charlie, and Kelly will all be in studio. I believe it's the Bruins on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, they haven't been good either, so they're going to win 6-0. Like,
well, David Pastrnak, my friend. David Pastrnak
just
destroys the Flyers.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Bet365. Just to let you know, we'll be betting Pasta to score, probably 2 on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's an easy 2+. No, but please tune in. I'm sure it'll be an entertaining game. I remember they had a couple spats with the Bruins last year that I think they did that ended up being all right.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, they don't have Bergeron anymore, so
no. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Michkov tonight.
Attempted the game, as you said.
Attempted the Michigan a few times. I really felt like it looked like he was maybe forcing stuff early in the game. Like he had a few turnovers, just mishandled a couple pucks, and I realize it's early in his career, but that's already kind of surprising when he's like taking the puck around the corner, trying to get to the back of the net, and a defenseman's just able to knock it off his stick, no problem. It's already like, oh, that's weird. He's usually really good through traffic and stuff like that.
This 19-year-old's not perfect here? But I don't understand.
I guess we're just like after games like yesterday, I guess we're just going to have to deal with he's not going to be the best player on the ice he's not going to super impress us every time out, and that's just something we have to live with from a teenager.
Do we have to deal with that? I mean, no, of course we do. It's always good to temper your expectations, specifically like he is a teenager and he will have nights like that. And again, frankly, his line mates didn't help much either tonight. After looking like superstars yesterday, Couturier and Konechny did not also have like the greatest games tonight. Until that last like 2 minutes when they turned into supersonic. I still trying to understand that. The offensive dynamo tonight was Travis Sanheim, which we all saw coming.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
No, the guy who I was like, oh, I don't know. We saw his minutes really, get that big bump early last season. And then in December, it was like, oh, we got to back him off. He's like dead tired. And we saw his play slip a little bit in the second half. And then Cam York goes out. We don't have anyone else close to a top pair defenseman. He just played 28 minutes last night in a 60-minute game, and it's a back-to-back, and he comes out and he's got jumping. That's the effort tonight in the back-to-back. No one has any excuses because Travis Sanheim came out and played well after playing 28 minutes.
Sanheim looked great.
So I really don't want to hear it.
Sanheim looked great. Yeah. He had so much energy.
He was the best player on the team tonight.
Yeah, he
scored a couple of goals, created opportunities for himself really out of nothing. That was good to see. I did just see a comment from K-Red that was Mish looks like he gets a little sloppy in back-to-backs, and that was definitely a thing that I believe Charlie said, Danny said during the preseason, like after a really tough practice or in a back-to-back or something, and then the next game, he'd look a little slower, and then after a day off, he would go out and be the best player on the ice. And just the grind of the NHL season, I guess, is the thing that he really needs to adjust to more than anything else. And that makes sense because he's a rookie. He's 8 games in, 9 games in. That's what it's going to be. But
you got to build that endurance up, and also the fact that he hasn't fully physically matured at this point, which is just wild to think about because he is going to do some growing still, which is awesome. Stuff like that, it is going to take some getting used to. I mean, we might just be dealing with that all season. So adjust your lineups accordingly.
Yeah. And I always think of Charlie Manuel talking about Cole Hamels. He's got his man body now.
He's got his man body.
He's got his man body now. And it's Mish isn't even close. He's not even that's 24 we're talking about. It's going to be a little bit of that, but he's not going to
Mish doesn't. I was going to say, I hope Mish doesn't follow Cole Hamels' example from his young days also, because Cole Hamels broke his hand in a bar fight before he joined the Phillies.
It's one thing to do stupid stuff. It's another thing to break one of the cardinal rules of Bull Durham. Come on, man. You don't punch a drunk with your pitching hand,
Yes, and you don't. It's great advice. So I don't think Matvei's going to be, this dude is a hockey machine.
Yeah.
He lives for hockey. He is a competitor and he will get used to those back-to-backs eventually. I think we just got to, let's bring Yager over and just have him shadow Yager's training regimen day and night. And I mean day and night when we're talking about Yager training. And I think he'll be good to go.
And that's the thing, like, Jágr at that age wasn't that guy yet. You know,
No.
it takes a long time for guys, and he's already got that maturity. So it's just like, man, I expect 2 points from you every night. And is that fair? No, but life ain't fair. So it's hard to criticize. Again, hard to criticize a teenager when the veterans don't show up tonight. And that was really what happened. And there was a few incidents in this game that I want to get your opinion on, Steve, because I had a long back and forth about the Couturier Doc hit. I don't want to call it a hit because it wasn't a hit. He could have hit him and he could have hurt him real bad, and he lightly brushed by him, and Doc threw. The only one who was in danger of hurting anybody was Doc, hurting himself with the violence with which he threw his head back. But then Arbor-Xhekaj just sees his teammate maybe get an elbow to the head or something, maybe get shot from somebody up in the crowd the way he reacted. And so he goes, okay, I'm going to fight you. And then Nick Seeler jumps in and goes, no, I'm not letting the captain get beaten up by a goon. Xhekaj's insane.
This is why you need Seeler around. Like,
yeah.
This is, if we could get one more Seeler so he could just step in when Seeler's actually hurt and stuff, because he blocks every damn shot there is, that would be great, because Seeler's just the kind of guy you need for this situation, because seeing Sean Couturier fight the Bruins in the preseason was so disturbing to me, because I'm like, you're better than this. Like, you're too good of a player to go into the box. This is why we have Nick Deslauriers, Garnett Hathaway, and Nick Seeler here to do this kind of stuff. So good on Seals for getting in there. I feel like Montreal is a very dramatic team. Like,
yes.
They are just so, like, everything's dramatic. And, like, I'm thinking also Brendan Gallagher. I was very sad to see that Mish got goaded into the Brendan Gallagher special at one point.
Just like, I don't understand how referees, and I compliment the referees for the way that they handled the whole Couturier situation.
Yeah.
Because to me, typical application of the rule, Nick Seeler should be kicked out for third man in. Absolutely.
Sure.
But they saw the entire situation unfold. Sean Couturier, thank goodness he's a classy player, or Kirby Dach would be out for a minimum of 2 weeks with a concussion. And that's not what happened. And then Couturier accepted the fight, but it was a fight that never should have happened because it was an asinine embellishment by Dach, who was skating, gliding through the neutral zone, dead center ice with his head down and the puck in the area. That guy's going to get killed if he continues to play that way.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Stevens was out there somewhere, noted war criminal Scott Stevens, saying, like,
exactly,
hey, why don't you decapitate him?
And because the referees understood the situation, they applied a little logic and were like, no, there shouldn't be a fight here, and it definitely shouldn't be this fight. And Nick Seeler just saved Sean Couturier from getting beaten up for no reason.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong.
Alphabet Soup over there is not a guy who plays around.
No. And that's the other thing. Like, I guess you could just not accept the fight, but also Arbor-Xhekaj doesn't seem, and by seem, I mean he has on multiple occasions just decide to punch it in the back of the head if you don't want to fight him. Yeah. So I just don't see
given everything that's gone wrong with Sean Couturier's back, I don't need any assaults from his back. No, thank you.
Yeah. So I just think the referees applied a little logic there. But some of the things that they missed, the elbow, butt end, whatever it is, directly to the face, moving in the direction of the puck on Michkov, Savard in front of the net, and that goaded. I mean, like, Gallagher, I guess, goaded him into it, but, like, he's obviously guilty. Like,
this is what he does.
His stick is up on Michkov's shoulder. Like, I don't know. Again, use some logic and reason here. I hate they always get the retaliation. It's like, no, you allowed the other thing, but you didn't allow this. Why?
Right. It's just
there's 4 of them out there. I have a huddle up. I bet you someone else saw it. Like, I'll never understand this with that many officials on the ice, why they can't get shit like that right. It absolutely blows my mind. But the situation with Coots, Dach, Xhekaj, and Seeler, what did you think of all that?
I mean, I'm in complete agreement with you there. I mean, It's just a frustrating one. Coots could have done that. I understand why Xhekaj felt the need to jump in, but I don't at the same time. Like, it's just being an ass. Like, he's just trying to get in there and mess up the Flyers captain and top line center when he gets the chance. It's frustrating for sure. And yeah, I mean, Sealer, that's my guy right there. It's funny because, like, I remember going, oh, Nick Sealer. I don't know about this contract. Now I'm like, yeah, Nick Sealer. I love that guy.
Great teammate. Absolutely.
Bleeds orange and black. Give me all Nick Sealers.
You know who else is a great teammate? It is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center. Charlie, before we get into some individual performances, just thoughts on the game, if there are any feelings in the locker room or in the coaches post-game, whatever. What did you think of the game tonight? What are they saying about the game?
Yeah, I didn't think much of this game, and I got the sense that the players didn't think much of this game either. The main word that Scott Laughton, who was actually the first guy we spoke to on the team out of the guys that were in the locker room, the word he used was disconnected. That the team just is playing disconnected hockey right now. John Tortorella used the term playing in fives, like a 5-man unit, that they're not playing in fives right now. And that was what I saw for the bulk of this game. And, Travis Sanheim and Scott Laughton, they both theorized that maybe it's that, so many guys are trying to do everything themselves. And because that's not going to get the job done, especially when this isn't a team with a bunch of superstars. Like, yeah, if you have, 6 guys that are making all-star teams every year, maybe you can have those guys do it all themselves. But the Flyers aren't built to do that. They are built to get things done as a 5-man unit or a 4-man unit or however many guys are on the ice at a given time. And they're just not doing it right now. And the result is not just losing hockey, because they're obviously losing games and that's not what they're trying to do, but it also makes it like pretty unwatchable hockey. It's ugly watching this team right now. And even, I thought it was very interesting that Scott Laughton noted, because, yesterday was a fun hockey game. A lot happened. The top line was great. They score 7 goals. So it's like, oh, they can score again. But Scott Laughton after this game basically said, like, look, yeah, we scored 7 goals yesterday, but we had 6 shots on goal through 2 periods. He's like, that wasn't a very good game either. So I give him credit for being honest and not trying to act like last game was this brilliant performance where they were all firing on all cylinders. They clearly weren't. And this is just kind of a continuation, or at least I think in their minds, it was a continuation of the problems from the first 2 periods of Saturday's game.
Yeah, we kind of celebrated in yesterday's post game just because it was fun to watch. But we were like, listen, that wasn't, for the most part, good. That wasn't good. They just happened to score a bunch. And like you've said a bunch of times, Charlie, when you score, people are more happy. And that's kind of what we've seen tonight. They scored in the final 3 minutes. So that kind of made it interesting, but not the best performance. Aleksei Kolosov made his debut tonight. We thought he was up and down, but there's something there. What did you think of him in his first NHL action?
I thought he was mostly good. I thought the one goal he allowed to Cole Caulfield was awful. And that's the one where it does put a damper on the overall performance, because he needs to stop that. Like, that is a short side goal where he just needs to seal that post, and he just didn't. And you can't give up one really, really bad goal per game if you want to be a legitimate NHL goalie. That said, the rest of the game, I thought he looked perfectly adequate, perfectly acceptable. And I will say that John Tortorella, the first question to John Tortorella today actually was like, were there any positives you can take from this? And the very first positive he noted was, I thought our goalie played well. I thought he made some big saves. So he came away feeling pretty good about Kolosov. Now, granted, he obviously doesn't want to bury the kid. I'm sure there's some internal politics going on here with like them wanting to keep him happy. They gave him the start for a reason, and it wasn't just because Ivan Fedotov's been struggling. They're trying to have it so he doesn't go back to the KHL or doesn't request a loan again. So that's part of it. But I do think it's notable that when asked for positives, the first thing he said was the goalie, because that tells me that while before the game, I specifically asked John Tortorella, I said, is this a 1-game thing, or is he going to be here for a while? And Torts more or less said, well, we'll see. We don't know yet. We'll see. I get the sense, based on what he said after the game, that I don't think this is just going to be a 1-game thing. If he had struggled, it would have been. But if Tortorella came away happy, like, let's be honest, what they saw from Ivan Fedotov, there's no way John Tortorella has any trust in Ivan Fedotov right now. Who knows? Maybe he can figure it out at some point down the road. Whether he gets the opportunity or not, I guess we'll see. But right now, Tortorella has zero faith in Fedotov. And I think in Kolosov, he at least saw a goalie that doesn't absolutely terrify him to put him in the net. And I think that probably should lead to Kolosov staying. That's my guess.
No, that seems to check out. And Emil Andrae made his debut at the NHL level with the Flyers today. What did you think about his performance?
Yeah, good first game of the year, I thought, for Andrae. Obviously, he had some games last year, making the team out of camp, so it's not his first ever NHL game, but his first game with the team this season. I thought he was fine. He had that one really good bank pass to Joel Farabee. I think it was in the second period, where he showed off some of his creativity. He showed his compete in board battles. He's not the biggest guy, but he's not the kind of guy who shies away from contact. He's willing to not quite, be physical, although he certainly does throw hits from time to time, which is surprising given the fact that he's 5'9", but he has compete. He has tenacity, and he doesn't shy away from board battles, from puck battles. I like that. I like the passing ability. Look, I don't think he was incredible, because I don't think anybody on the Flyers was incredible in this game. I mean, maybe you could say Travis Sanheim had it going, but he even made some mistakes. He had a couple of failed clears on the lead up to the Cole Caulfield goal. So he wasn't perfect either, but I do think that Andrae showed enough to stay. That said, it did seem like when we talked to John Tortorella before the game that he doesn't want Zamula to be out of the lineup too long. He more or less said, like, I want to give him a game to watch from above and maybe get his head right. So I don't know if this is going to be a long stay for Andrae, if they want to get Zamula back in maybe as soon as Tuesday. I don't know. I think Andrae played well enough to stay in the lineup. But that said, I don't think they believe Andrae is a finished product, and they do want to keep Zamula in this mix. So I don't know if he stays in, but I think Andrae was fine. I liked his game overall, I would say.
Yeah, the physicality part, Charlie, that stood out to me. I think it was in the first period, like one of Andre's first shifts, had a good seal off and finished the hit along the boards on a rush play. It was one of the best hits I've seen a defenseman throw this season for the Flyers. I was really I wouldn't say really impressed, but I liked Andre's game. We'll talk more about that stuff on Monday's show. I want to get your opinion because this game was very boring, and I spent a lot of it in a Twitter fight with Habs fans. So yeah, I mean, they're nuts.
They are crazy. Yes.
So I want to get your take on the Coots, Doc, Arbor Jackeye, Sealer whole situation. What did you think happened, and what do you think how it should have been called? What was your take on everything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go through kind of my thoughts. Number one, the hit, if you even want to call it, from Couturier on Kirby Dach, like, to me, watching that seemed like, and I think even a couple Montreal reporters tweeted this out, like, that seemed like Couturier had the opportunity to absolutely blow him up and decided not to. Like, he tried to not blow him up, and because Doc, if he wanted to, he could have, Mike Richards to, basically. And instead, he tries to, like, avoid him, and then Jackeye is Jackeye. He's that's his role. He's defending his guy. Obviously, I think if he would have actually fought Sean Couturier, and Sean Couturier has fought, he obviously fought in the preseason. He's fought a bit in his NHL career, but I think Jackeye would have beat the crap out of him, to be quite honest with you. And Nick Sealer, the good teammate that he is, realized that and was like, there's no freaking way I'm going to let my captain get beat up on by Arbor Jackeye. And he did exactly what he should have done. I think, like, by the letter of the law, Sealer probably should have gotten a penalty for being the third man in. So I think if you're talking about whether it was the right call, I think by the law, it probably wasn't. The fact that Jackeye ends up leaving that sequence with the only penalty. However, and I don't think the officials had a particularly good game, but I do think they got this one right in spirit. Like, that was a fair outcome. Jackeye was very clearly trying to instigate that fight, like, obvious. And Sean Couturier, basically, it was clear he didn't want to fight, but it's also like, I'm not going to be a coward, fine. I guess I'll fight you just because, like, you're questioning my manhood. So sure. It was clear that Jackeye instigated that thing. It was clear that he was instigating off of a play that wasn't dirty and wasn't a penalty. And then Sealer was just going in to defend his teammate more than anything else. So probably should have been a penalty, at least on Sealer. But I think if you actually watch the play and use some discretion, which the officials clearly did, I think they got it right, because the only person who deserved a penalty there was Jack Guy, even if by the letter of the law, Sealer probably broke it by being the third man in on a fight that I guess they determined never actually happened because no one got fighting majors.
That's how you get out of it, is no one gets a fighting major.
Right.
I believe one guy deserved a penalty on the play, and it's Doc. I believe he's the one. He should have gone for embellishment. That starts the whole thing, because Arbor Xhekaj is a lunatic and just sees his teammate throw his head back like he's JFK, and he reacts to that. And Sean Couturier is like, well, yeah, if I skate away from you and say no, you're going to chase me down and punch me in the back of the head because I just saw you do that 2 weeks ago. Like, I think the only one who deserved the penalty there was him, but it all worked out fine. Where was the retaliation for Michkov getting blatantly either elbowed or butt-ended in the face in front of the net? Like, purposeful targeting of your best player, young guy who we said we were going to protect, and you're down 4-1. You're not trying all that hard. I don't know. Maybe mess someone up. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. These are the types of things that I don't fret over nearly as much as you do. But that said, it matters to the team. You kind of saw it, I believe, what was it, in Calgary too, where there were a couple hits and the guys just kind of didn't really do much. You do get the sense a little bit that, like, when there's not a lot of juice, maybe it's just not the first thing that comes to guys' heads. Like, oh, I need to go out there. Like Delorier needs to go out there and fight somebody. The fact that Sealer defended Couturier tells me that they are still a very tight-knit group. And part of me just is like, do you really need to fight after every single thing? Like, I don't know. That's a little much, but Bill, I get why you're frustrated, why you're like, nah, I want them to fight after every single thing. But like, to me, it's not that big of a deal, but I understand why you would think it would be a big deal.
I make it a big deal because they've told me it's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that we're driving back in the car from New York with Matvei Michkov, showing him Nick Delorier fights, saying, this is your best friend. Well, someone needs to do it. I was just disappointed by that, but I was disappointed by basically the entire team tonight. So I guess singling out any one instance is kind of pointless. Charlie, what's your opinion on Eagles' chance at Flyers games?
I would say, generally speaking, I am very opposed to them. I think they're stupid. In this case, though, I think it honestly was warranted because it was more about expressing frustration with the Flyers, and they deserved it. They were playing with, I'm not going to say they were playing with no effort. I think they were trying, but they just had zero juice. They, as Lawton said, they were disconnected. They just weren't playing together. And I understand why. It's a Sunday night. Fans are restless. They're annoyed. I mean, by then the arena was basically half full. A lot of people had left, so there were a few brave ones that stuck it out and nearly got to see an exciting comeback because they made it interesting against all odds later on in the game. But you know what? When the team's playing that poorly, to me, it's fair game. And these are the only times I am open to an Eagles chant. I think the thing that was really jarring was that it happened in the middle of play. That was the middle finger from the fans to the players. Like, this is how low we think of you right now, that we're going to do an Eagles chant while you're like skating up ice. And honestly, with the way they played in most of this game, I get it.
It was so loud. That's one of the loudest ones I've heard in that building. Like, I heard it so clear on the broadcast. So, like, what changed in the last 2 minutes to kick them into overdrive there and actually do stuff?
It's a really good question. And the only thing I can think of, truthfully, is just that confidence in hockey is so big, because this was a team for most of the game. And I said it on Twitter a couple of times. I've said it on the show. It just didn't seem like they had any juice. And then the minute that Sanheim gets that goal, suddenly they have juice because they think, oh, we can actually do things. Things will work if we try them. And then boom, suddenly they're flying all around. Same thing kind of happened in that Capitals game. In the third period, they get a couple goals. Fedotov makes a big save on Dubois, and suddenly it's like, oh, wait a minute, we can play hockey now. And I think that Sanheim goal kind of was that. Like, Sanheim makes a really good individual play, and suddenly everyone just has the weight of the world lifted off their shoulders for a little bit, and that's great. It shows that they are better than this, or they can be better than this, I guess, in theory. Problem is that you can't be skating around with weights tied to your legs for 40 straight minutes. You're not going to win many games if you do that. And we're seeing they're not winning many games.
Now, tonight was a real procrastinator special, like a 4-3 final to that game where you played for about 3 minutes. That's a pretty good outcome. That's not bad for a team that really didn't look good all night. So, all right, Charlie, let's get 3 stars and let's get the hell out of here. Hit us with star number 3.
Okay, fair enough. Star number 3, I guess I will go with Travis Sanheim, who I thought was good. Not perfect, certainly not perfect in this game, but made plays with the puck. And it's funny, like, I don't think he was immune from the disconnection issues. I think he was part of that. There were times he looked disconnected from his teammates. The difference between him and everyone else is that everyone was trying to do individual plays. He was actually executing the individual plays. Like the individual efforts that he was doing were actually working because he was just on. And John Tortorella specifically praised Travis Sanheim after this game. After praising Kolosov, he said, Sanheim's been a major bright spot. He's playing really well, and we need him to play really well with Cam York out. So he's happy with Travis Sanheim, and we know, a few years ago he kind of hated the guy. So if Tortorella praises Sanheim, I know it's probably like accurate, because there have been long periods where he hated everything about Travis Sanheim's game. So Sanheim, not perfect, but certainly worthy of a star.
John Tortorella and I, very similar. All right, Charlie, hit us with star number 2.
Yeah, star number 2, I'm going to go with Nick Suzuki. Just a strong all-around game from a strong all-around player. I've always been a big Nick Suzuki guy. I remember when the Habs went on their run to the Cup final. One of my friends is a diehard Montreal fan, and our whole friend group basically just was like, screw it, let's all jump on the Habs bandwagon and root with him and like go to bars and watch games. And I bought a Nick Suzuki t-shirt. So I've long been a Nick Suzuki fan. He's long been my favorite player to watch on that team. And I thought he was really good in this game. Obviously scores a goal and an assist. And it's just, he's not an elite player, but he's like an awesome second line center. It's just that on this team, he has to be a first line center because they don't have anybody else. But really good player. Any team in the league would love to have Nick Suzuki, and he had a really good game tonight.
All right, last but not least, first star of the game.
First star of the game, I'm going to go with Brendan Gallagher for 2 reasons. Number one, he produces. He gets to what I guess it's not the game-winning goal now because the Flyers scored twice, but like that game is tied coming out of the first period. The Flyers weren't playing that well, but it was tied. Gallagher's the one who gets the goal that really turns things and lets them dominate the entirety of the second period. So Gallagher sparks them on the score sheet. But I thought just as importantly, he got in Matvei Michkov's head. He did. And that's Brendan Gallagher. He is a guy who needles people. He agitates and he chirps. And if Matvei Michkov is more concerned about fighting Brendan Gallagher than he is about being Matvei Michkov on the ice, that's a win for the Montreal Canadiens. And it was just a classic Brendan Gallagher game. Like, that's what he does. He tries to get under your skin. And this was the first time we saw someone successfully get under Matvei Michkov's skin. And that's his job. His job is to produce points and get under the skin of players who can be thrown off their game. And I think Michkov was a little thrown off his game tonight. So for that reason, Gallagher's the number 1 star. Yeah,
this was definitely not Misha's best game. I did like the several Michigan attempts, but you got to pull that off. You got to get that. You got to at least get the puck up. All right, Charlie. That is it. That is Charlie O'Connor, Philadelphia's number 1 beat writer, coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center. He'll be back with us tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our live show. I will talk to you then, Charlie.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. And before we wrap up tonight, I got to tell you about Ace Hardware. That's right. Because Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. And now they got the helpful hardware home services as well. If you got a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services is around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. Same with, maybe your air conditioning issue or that leaky faucet you said you'd get to last fall. We all think that we can fix stuff on our own, and then it's like, it's a year later. Stuff still ain't working. Well, that's where Ace comes in, because they have a person for all that. They're not just the helpful hardware folks. They're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. While we're here, maybe you got a little bit bigger of a project you're looking for, well, you got to go with C-Jam Construction, a family-owned home remodeler specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring. Their goal is to help their clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. We all know how tough it can be. I was just watching a show the other day with a lawyer. I think it was Modern Family, and he's like, yeah, like half of divorces start because of a home remodel. You think you can do something, and then it's just too big of a job, and you end up at each other's throats. Well, that's where C-Jam Construction comes in. And right now, they're running a spooky season sale up until Halloween, the 31st. So get in there now. It's this coming week. Spooky season sale until 10/31 on the CoreLogic luxury vinyl plank flooring. Prices starting at $249 a square foot with savings up to 35% off retail. Taxes and fees are extra. CoreLogic flooring is 100% waterproof, formaldehyde-free, and features an elegant natural wood look and finish. It's as durable flooring with no less than a 20-millimeter wear layer and an overall plank thickness of 5 millimeters. Be sure to mention PHLY when you call 856-329-2933 about your next home project. See their full selection of luxury vinyl plank flooring and learn more about the products and warranties on the website cjamconstruction.com/flooring. All right. Do we have any super chats? 2 super chats, Bryn. Let's get to them right now. This first one here from Adam S. I need to expand my screen so I can see it. There we go. Season ticket holders are getting the shaft this season. Hashtag fire torts. Habs on a back-to-back 2. Free Bobby Brink. They're not firing John Tortorella. And I don't.
It's going to take a lot.
I don't believe it to be warranted. Like if we're giving him the credit for the team overachieving last season, then I just don't. He's too much a part of the overall plan. Like if you move on, I'm not saying if you move on from Torts, you got to move on from Danny too. I think they can be independent of each other.
Well, Danny gets at least one coach after.
Yes,
like that's GM law right there.
Especially one he hires.
Yeah, because this is a coach he inherited.
Like the way this thing is set up, he's part of it. Like John Tortorella, either as coach or something else in the near future, he is as much a part of this thing as Danny and Jonesy in my eyes.
I think it's going to take a lot to fire Tortorella. Yeah. Like, I think the team would have to be an open rebellion. And specifically, there's one guy, and I think we all know who we're talking about, Matvei Michkov here. If he's like, I can't work with this guy, I got to get out, then yeah, okay. But like outside of that, I think it's going to, because the thing is, ultimately, the season, as far as the Flyers are concerned, like, yeah, of course they want to please season ticket holders and play well at home, but like, they're not trying to win this season. They're not under any illusion that they're cup contenders.
They've told us that openly.
Yeah, so like, why would they fire a coach who they got to pay for a couple more years anyway? I guess they have a good relationship with him because he's here, right? It's frustrating though. It's definitely frustrating. And if I'm a season ticket holder, I'm furious right now because like, yeah, they played like crap at home, but not that they played great anywhere, but like extra bad at home.
Listen, like we've said over and over, while they're not trying to win, like they want to be competitive and they've acknowledged like, yes, it's a business, but it's the entertainment business. And they know like people aren't going to be happy with this for much longer. They don't want to be playing games in half-empty buildings. They don't want to be hearing Eagles chants. They definitely don't want to be hearing, let's go Rangers, let's go Devils, let's go Bruins, let's go Penguins. Those are definitely things they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
They got to get it cleaned up, especially at home. But even if John Tortorella is removed from day to day behind the bench, I believe John Tortorella will be part of this organization until I don't know. Like it will take another regime change for him to be not part of the Flyers. In my mind.
I mean, and the thing is also like, even if he's out of there, I don't think this team's playing any better without him. Because the thing is, like, I like a lot of the pieces on this team, but it's not a team. It's very much a work in progress. It is not a team that's going to be, even by the end of the season, team will not be anywhere near where they need to be. Even if they make the playoffs somehow, this ain't it.
No, Steve, let's talk about what they need. Like a 1C, maybe a 2C.
Yeah.
Top pair defenseman.
Yeah.
Goaltending.
Yeah.
Did I not just name all the most important stuff? Like
they got wingers. That's pretty much all they got.
We got a bunch of scoring wingers.
I would say Sean Couturier is a 2C. I think they have wingers and a 2C. I would like another C though. Beyond that, like I think you need a 1C and you probably need a 3C.
I'm looking at in my mind like
I like Morgan Frost, but I don't know, man.
Like 2 and 3, like the middle 6 centers, they have one of those two guys. Like that's like Sean Couturier. Yeah, if they're winning, he's going to play 20 minutes trying to salt away the lead. If they're losing, hopefully you have a couple of centers who score more than he does because he just scored for the first time in 32 games the other night.
Yeah,
you know, like it was a fun game, but I'm not getting out over my head about Sean Couturier playing well one time. He has looked good with Mish. I like the pairing.
I like the pairing. I think they're good hockey minds together. And also, I have to agree with you, Adam. Free Bobby Brink. I do agree with that.
Get him in there. Team can't score. Like team can't score.
The guy's offensively creative. Get him in there.
Yeah. All right. Let's see the next super chat here from Who Is Mike Mall. While it's still spooky season, everyone get your voodoo dolls ready because it'll take all of us to get this team. Hagens, I call Frost. Jeez, that's dark. Listen, I was just looking at myself when Charlie was on and realized I'm wearing a Night of the Living Dead shirt. Maybe I need to take some responsibility for the way the team played. Because you
got to do a better job, Bill.
That's what they looked like. They looked like the Living Dead. That's what they were out there tonight. But yeah, listen, the way this is going, they are going to maybe get a much better draft pick than expected, and that would be cool. If it's Hagens, that would be dope. Although
sure nice,
he's the BC kid, though, right?
I don't know about that.
He's in a locker room with some guys who were in a locker room with Cutter. We've got to find out who his agent is. Do we have any more, Brent? I think that is it. That's all the super chats, which means that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame. PHLY Flyers Postgame is brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. That's it for us tonight. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the YouTube page and set that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Get those notifications. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And you can see our schedule there. All sorts of great stuff. All my arguments with Habs fans tonight, all that. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it. My name's Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco. Until next time, let's go Flyers.